commentary show talking about all kinds of things from down rabbit holes to down test tubes to...
Our show should be called The Rabbit Hole, I'm telling you.
But it's not just rabbit holes we go down. We go all over the place. Into space even.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make this a little catch-all one and talk about things. I have extreme conscience plague reaction to all things violently going on in Gaza and Ukraine. We can talk about either one of those situations. I would like to talk about... Okay, let's talk about the French. Macron did drop some kind of a hint. He's backpedaled a bit since then, but the hint was French boots on the ground in Ukraine. That was the hint.
And why has the policy changed? Why did he want to do that?
Well, I think, and not being an expert in foreign affairs and NATO policies, I think he's suggesting that if you could want to ensure Ukraine's success, one of the ways is to provide troops in Ukraine to manage whatever the forces would be domestically, while Ukrainian forces do what they want to do, which is get back their 4 territories in Crimea.
So they would be more like police? Like looking after the civilians?
Yeah, like sort of maintaining
order.
Status quo and order while, of course, you'd have to be invited. You'd have to, there's many things to think about. But in principle, would a foreign legion, we have that now, do we not? We intervene in other places.
Well, I know Russia has done it.
The United States does it all that. Canada's been part of the Afghan International Force.
No, but like whole forces coming from other nations being recruited and to die.
In Afghanistan, Iraq as well.
Our listeners in Bulgaria or wherever it is, Belize, wherever it is, this is don't fall for it. They're going to hire you to go die.
Apparently, yeah. So let's stick with one.
All right,
issue.
rabbit hole.
The issue is, in theory, is Ukraine going to do this one all by themselves, fighting off Russia with one hand behind their back because Germany's refused to send the Taurus missile, which would be needed because the range is far. U.S. is stalling off on ATACMS and other long-range systems. Britain did allow a shorter range cruise to be used. Is it time to rethink what does victory look like for Ukraine? We say that we want them to win, we being the West, we being NATO. Have we changed our minds? Or has the U.S. changed its mind by virtue of Magic Mike Johnson, the leader of the Speaker of the House, who refuses to pass any law?
Yeah, it's the influence of someone being influenced. The sad thing is if you're being influenced by your own people in that way, you got to remember that they're probably being influenced by people that do not want your best interest, and they're falling for it. And unfortunately, it takes people with really strong backbones, even willing to give up their position in life, to stand up to such things. You vowed to be with Ukraine. They went forward with your vow to support them endlessly.
Can we clarify the vow to support Ukraine? Do you know the history? I was just looking that up, so it's in the front of my head. I haven't lost it in my filing system in the back drawer somewhere. 1994, Ukraine gave up the right to have intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles and nuclear weapons. Gave that up as a condition of peace. Yeah. Promised by the rest of the world that peace would be maintained. Peace was not maintained. Crimea was invaded. Yeah. And so that's the context. We promised, we the West, we the world, promised if they would do this, and they did it, and we didn't.
But even recently, even when the Russians were forming on the border, we said we'll be there for you no matter what. No matter how long. Yeah, no matter how long. And I think the opposition party in the United States right now, okay, I'll say it, the Conservative Party, is a betrayal to not only Ukraine but to their own nation for self-serving, whatever their reasons
Ronald Reagan would roll over in his grave. Not that I'm a fan of Ronald Reagan's, but I would think he would roll over in his grave.
I think you should give Ukraine what they need, even the long range, if that's what's needed. I never understood a war where Moscow can sit just right over there and no threat of being hit. Nah, lob some beauties in there, and just say, if you tip for tat here, buddy, like if you're going to raid our country, we're going to raid yours.
Attack infrastructure, schools,
Yeah.
medical facilities, all kinds of stuff, power generation, dams.
More of the power generation, the airports, to stop them from being able to fly their bombers, take out their missile launching systems. That I don't like the idea of taking out civilians. Unfortunately, that seems to hurt the most.
Russia has not limited their strikes to military or infrastructure.
They've been brutal.
They've been brutal, hitting apartment complexes, schools, and what have you.
They've also kidnapped people.
Thousands of children,
kidnapped them.
tens of thousands of Ukrainians in the territories in which they occupy.
No wonder that's why they don't condemn Gaza or the Hamas.
You can't.
They can't, because they've got thousands upon thousands of hostages, quite frankly. And just it's horrible. The way of thinking is horrible.
Okay, so do you think Putin's got it in his melon yet that he's going to lose?
No, I think he's waiting for hope. I think he's hoping for Trump to be reelected. I think Trump.
Does Ukraine's victory depend on Trump?
Trump, I think he's the most frightening man in the world. Sorry out there, those who don't. I think he's bordering on high evil. He's a sociopath. And I think he's got a mental issue.
But does Ukraine's victory depend on whether Trump is defeated in this next election?
It may, because right now the GOP is frightened of Trump, and so they're behind a madman. In my opinion, just my opinion, folks. Don't get mad. You can have your opinion. So Trump is a danger to the entire world, and especially to America. He's going to bring it down, and the proof will be, if he gets convicted or anything happens between now and November, he'll do everything in his power to destroy the United States for his ego. You watch. Mark my words, all you listening out there. He's going to take the nation down. He's going to try to take that nation down. He tried insurrection. He tried that. As much as you don't want to believe that's what he did that. And you really aren't listening. You haven't watched him speak the words. You haven't seen his actions in the White House for those 100 and whatever minutes that he did absolutely nothing while people were losing their lives because he was a little brat in his office. And even his closest allies, advisors will tell you that. The guy is not right to be a leader of a nation. He's a Putin.
Russia.
And so if Trump wins, he's going to say, why are we fighting their battle?
No, he's going to say, as he said, Putin can attack any NATO country that doesn't pay its bills.
But not only that, he'll want revenge on the Ukraine because he didn't get his way.
So he'll give Putin permission.
He'll say, we'll just kind of supplies will get cut off. Go on and take it.
Okay, so there's Ukraine.
And then, of course, putting a black mark on all of NATO, actually putting in jeopardy peace in the entire world. But he can't think beyond. I honestly can't see him thinking beyond his own nose.
That's your prediction for a Trump victory, is that the world will change on that 2024 if he wins.
And if he wants any money, he's going to have to flee the country.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, they're going to sell off his assets because he's guilty. And he has to pay this amount of money. He hasn't got that money. They have to start selling off his assets. So why not take your money and run?
I thought he offered, this is off on a tangent, I thought he offered $100 million. Would you take $100 million?
Listen, I know where you're coming from. But if you just
the mob boss hasn't got a
look at it my way, $100 million, it's better than none. Better than none, It's the best 100.
Well, he's on the hook for it, and it's growing by 114,000 a day.
Yeah.
So within a month, he will have a lot more millions owed. 30 days in a month on average, and you're 100,000 a day. Every 10 days, you get $1 million. Okay, that's a lot of money.
I don't rejoice in the downfall of anybody, but this guy's got to be stopped.
It's not rejoicing in the downfall. It's asking for justice for all.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Well, okay, let's go over to Gaza, where again, here's this conflict. I have a problem with killing randomly. Is that what's happening in Gaza? Or can you argue IDF is being selective and minimizing the civilian casualties? After all, there were 2 million Palestinians before the war. There's probably 1,980,000 now. There are about 20 to 30,000. So it's not genocide by any description. It is somewhat, it's troublesome.
It's brutal.
It's kids
It's brutal.
dying. Kids are dying.
Well, the sad thing
Old
is
people are
let's
dying.
remember who's really to blame. Hamas.
Yes.
And the people that house Hamas, the people that want a whole nation gone. What choice does Israel have? Yes, it's brutal. Do I like it? No. I think it's horrible. What they're doing, I think it's horrible. I just don't see other solutions to it.
Okay.
They said, we are going to kill every Hamas member, every one of them.
And it's not just
And
going to
so
be October
if they're
7th.
lining up that chip truck to get chips, run. If you know there's a Hamas guy or
If you know they got a package of AR-15s in the
Run!
back,
Run!
do not buy your chips from the chip truck. That's
Yeah.
Hamas.
Yeah, run.
It's
because the sad
Well,
thing
what
is
about taking the ambulance when the ambulance drivers are Hamas? It's an ambulance run for Hamas.
Yeah.
It's for the Hamas soldiers.
yeah.
So don't take an ambulance because that could be targeted.
But that's not Israel's fault.
No, you're right.
Like you and me have not seen what they have seen. I've heard reporters see what they have seen, and not one of them has said stop.
No.
Stop. They say go get them,
Yeah.
get them. They are freaking evil. This
Okay,
Hamas.
so that's the reporting I've heard as
Made me
well. That
swear.
everybody who's seen the footage
Yeah.
has not said to stop.
No, because maybe that's what justified God in the beginning when He said, "Go in and kill everything with life and breath in it, everything with breath in it."
It's
and
a
we
bit
don't.
of an extrapolation.
But we don't know the ins and outs of what's going on.
True.
We don't know. I have a friend of mine.
I've heard you say you're an agnostic so much today. I don't know what's happening. I just don't know.
A friend of mine once said, there's many occasions where we've seen people come apart by looking at pure glory, God. An angel appears and they just become undone. But he said, looking straight in the face of pure evil is undoing as well. And I don't know how he knows that, but just think about what those people have seen on those videos
I think
of
that's
what they did to women.
imagining a
and
scene from Indiana Jones and
children. Well, maybe.
the Lost Ark.
Maybe.
Whoa, coming undone. Jim and Terry Show, signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye.